ECC is extreme cold climate weather protection
Okay.
product range. So we are making ECC coats, we are making ECC trousers, ECC socks, ECC gloves.
Winning government contracts really work. What's the process? So margins are like 1%, 2%, which is extremely low for a textile company or company going into defense. So where do you see that moving? Do you plan to increase? Do you plan to stay the same?
Spinning, it gets converted into the yarn. The yarn gets converted into the greige fabric, which is, this fabric, you can see it here.
Okay.
And then this fabric can be finished into a different form. It can be a piece dyed, it can be a print, and then the fabric is produced, which is then will not be dyed, but it will only be finished. This is ECC jacket. We are supplying it to Ladakh Police. We already have order from Ladakh Police. Then there are coir mattress. We are doing it for BSF.
Merite. This is a 700 crore market cap company that we are interviewing today. The promoter, Mr. Abhishek, is with us. And what's interesting about the company is that when the first generation, his father, started in 1975, they started as a trading company. And in 2004, around the year 2000, when he came into the business, he didn't just take it to the next level, like increasing the trading turnover, no. But he decided to go further into textiles, do yarn manufacturing, then further forward integrate into gray fabric, which is kind of a raw form of fabric. And now, what makes the company interesting, so interesting that we want to come to the office, interview them, is because they are going into defense textiles. When we talk about defense, people usually think about aerospace components or the assault rifles, but no one really talks about the uniform the each army personnel wears. So today we have with us Mr. Abhishek. Sir, thank you so much for
Hello.
having us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Firstly, this name Merite, it so doesn't sound like textile, like an export company or a milk company. So where did this French sort of name come about?
Yeah, so it's a French name. It means the advantage.
Okay.
All French thing starts with li, la, or less. It's in plural if it's a less. So we have the advantage, Merit Exports Limited. So it's just that when I started this company, I thought that I should have some fancy name, which is maybe relate something to do with the European market.
Okay.
So we chose this name, and we got lot of praise for this kind of brand name which we have chosen.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so would you do manufacture products like these?
Yeah, so our conventional business starts with cotton yarn,
Okay.
and our top line for cotton yarn consists of almost 70% of our total top line, and we've been exporting to more than 35 countries across the world, and from Latin America to Far East, we have customer base across the world. Then we of course have extended our product line to greige fabric and finished fabric.
Okay.
We have few registered brand names also in domestic market for our finished fabric division. However, recently, maybe for 2 years, we have got into the technical textile, and especially specifically for the defense forces, for the defense and paramilitary forces. So we are producing a lot of final products which are supplied to the forces, and that includes like ECC product range.
What is ECC?
ECC is extreme cold climate weather protection product range. So we are making ECC coats, we are making ECC trousers, ECC socks, ECC gloves. So we have a complete range of ECC products, ECC tent, and we also have the conventional other products, technical textile, which are like anti-bedbug, antimicrobial, anti-static, anti-stap. We are making rain poncho. We are doing rucksack. We are doing tents for on a regular thing. We are making a few other product range, uniform fabric.
Okay.
With a different kind of coating, finishing,
Okay.
which are required by the forces.
Okay.
Having said that, we have also received a 10-year license from DRDO, Defense Research Development Organization. So we have been awarded 10-year license for two of the product, which is antimicrobial and anti-bed bug bedsheet.
Okay.
So we have only, I think, 3 or 5 license for that particular product, and it's a huge market which we uh, think we will start catering from the current financial year.
Understood. So before we even start the interview, I want the viewers to understand the value chain of the business. So basically, let's separate the business into two areas. Firstly, your traditional business, which is like yarn and fabric. So what do? You procure cotton, and then what happens? Who's your end customer in this first division, the traditional division?
Yeah. So we have been a asset light company, asset light manufacturing company, where we are, procuring the raw cotton, which is cotton bales.
Okay.
And we are producing cotton yarn.
Okay.
And that cotton yarn is being exported. We have all the sustainability license also with that cotton yarn. So we are doing cotton yarn which is organic. We are doing cotton yarn which is recycle. We have region agri. So different types of sustainability certificates. We have total 8 sustainability certificates. Okay. So according to our requirement, our customers' requirement, we supply them. We are supplying this yarn, cotton yarn, to brands like H&M, CNA, LCC Waikiki. Okay. So these brands basically they are the final end retail brands we all know, but they have the procurement channel which buys yarn from India for their vendors in Bangladesh or Turkey or Egypt. Okay. And they place the orders. However, the vendors open the LC. So we are associated with this kind of brands also for our conventional business. Okay. Value added product, which is
so then about the traditional business itself, if let's say you procure cotton, process that into yarn, sell not to H&M but the manufacturers, the vendors.
Yes.
Okay. So let's say there's a factory in Bangladesh who manufactures for Zara or H&M, you supply to them.
Absolutely.
But the procurement decision is made by whom? This Bangladesh factory or the H&M?
So, of course, the Bangladesh factory, there are many RMG suppliers who buys from us directly also. Okay. But there are brands like H&M, CNA, and as I mentioned, they have their own procurement team also. Okay. And they have this seasons like spring and summer and of pre-spring. So where they place the orders by their own procurement team. And once the orders is confirmed, because they have the huge quantity, so they can negotiate in a better way when they are procuring by themselves. Okay. And then they allocate this what you call quantity which they have taken to their vendors.
So now tell us about the defense bit you're doing. I hear a lot of terms being thrown around like antimicrobial bed sheets, like fire resistant suits. So and a couple of projects that you're doing for DRDO. So tell me, what is the value addition there? Like, what is it that you're procuring? What is that you're doing? I think because it's technical textiles, there are a lot of fillings or there's a lot of chemical treatment that happens on the fabric before it's printed and before it's packaged and sent to the defense department. So tell me all about it, the second division.
So see, technical textile is a very vast field. Okay. And there are technical textile products for different type of end use. So it can be a agro technical textile. It can be a technical textile. It can be a automotive, right? However, we are focused towards paramilitary forces and defense forces. So our technical textile products are limited to the defense requirement and ECC. So we have two range. One is defense, one is defense based only, but ECC. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And in defense, we have, like you rightly mentioned, different types of finishes, which can be anti microbial, which you call it also antibacterial, right? Anti bed bug, anti step, right? Anti-acid, fire retardant.
Okay.
So those are the things.
Okay.
So as per the requirement of the fabric, we will do that kind of finish.
Okay.
Right. You also said about the filling. So the filling is required for the cold protection, which is our range of ECC, extreme cold climate.
Understood.
Range. So in that range, we use filling, which is, it can be down feather or it can be a polyfill with the high glow value. Okay. Which will give you the warmness which is required during that harsh weather.
Okay. So in defense segment, it's like, if I were to subdivide, you're doing two types of segments, let's say. Yes. One is for defense, but like very traditional type of defense products, let's say anti-riot, like for military forces that goes on to protect, to prevent a riot.
Absolutely. We have anti-riot suit.
Yeah.
So that will protect from the anti-acid, anti-stab, it's also fire retardant. Yeah. So anti-fire. Yeah. So that is a complete suit for riot.
Understood. So that's on the one side. And on the second side, you said, which is ECC. So the difference between the former and the latter is that the former, the fabric goes through a lot of chemical treatment, whereas in the latter, which is like ECC, extreme cold condition climate, there it is more got to do with the filling rather than the chemical treatment on the fabrics.
Yeah, it is a filling. Okay. And also the fabric, which is required to be a very strong fabric. Yeah. So for example, if you want to do a tent of ECC, the nylon tent fabric which we will use will be a very strong fabric. Okay. Which can actually protect that kind of wind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood. So can you show us, I'm so glad we have the products right behind us. So can you show me the most basics item that you started with? Like if you have a patch of yarn, or sorry, patch of fabric, and the most complex product that you are currently manufacturing and selling.
Yeah. Okay. So this is of course the gray yarn. We call it gray yarn or raw yarn. Okay. And this is how the bale look like. If you will see this small piece, yeah, right? This in a big bale, 165 kgs or 170 kgs of bale, which is a raw cotton which goes to this spinning, and in spinning it gets converted into the yarn. The yarn gets converted into the gray fabric, which is this fabric. You can see it here. Okay. And then this fabric can be finished into a different form. It can be a piece dyed, it can be a print, or if you want to make yarn dyed, then the yarn itself has to be dyed first, and then the fabric is produced, which is then will not be dyed, but it will only be finished. Okay. So that is yarn dyed fabric. So we have different types of fabrics, and then the garment is produced, which is, we call it shirt or other things, but we are not into a basic garmenting. Yeah. We are into technical textile products, where we are doing this jacket. This is ECC jacket. We are supplying it to Ladakh Police. We already have order from Ladakh Police. We are doing a uniform fabric, which is also antimicrobial, for which we have a license also for bedsheet. So antimicrobial VAT printed fabric, which we are doing it for BSF force. We are doing that. Then there are coir mattress. We are doing it for BSF. Okay. This is a coir mattress. We have rucksack, sleeping bag, those products which are also in pipeline for the orders.
Okay. Yeah. So for the ECC items, you like these jackets, which is very thick layer, and it can protect you up to what degree Celsius?
It can protect you up to -20 degree.
-20. Yeah. Okay. And you are not doing this for H&M or Zara or all these brands, but you're doing for the defense.
Yeah. Department. Our focus is only for the government supplies for and products for the technical textile. Currently, we are not focused to do any other kind of for any other organization.
Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. Now then, let's talk more about these government contracts. Yeah. Because to be fair, we have interviewed construction companies, construction consultancy companies that bid through the online process, pass a technical round, then go on to the financial round, then they close, become L1, etc., etc. But in this case, how does winning government contracts really work? What's the process?
See, the process is very cumbersome process, and it have a huge entry barrier, and that's how it becomes a kind of a lucrative business. We have a team always working on it. We have four people where we have to work on the tenders and the submission and ensuring that all the documentation and everything is as per the tender requirement. So there's a lot of things which we have to keep on working on it, and you have to keep a minimum time frame of 6 months. So right now we are filling the tenders, which will probably we will get the orders in hand in maybe September or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's a uh, kind of a long gesture period where you have to work on. Then the
Absolutely.
payment cycle is also quite long.
Yeah.
The raw material, because after we get the orders, we don't want to waste time for supply. So the raw material stock is also one challenge which we have always have to face in this thing.
Okay. And but still, is it based on like L1, L2? Then if someone is L2, the government will ask to match the L1. Does it still work the same way?
Yeah, definitely. So you have L1, L2, L3, maybe sometime L4, L5 also,
Okay.
and depends on the size of the tender and depends on the product. Then the um, companies which are actually have passed the tenders and have been selected for the bidding, and they've been there in between say L1 to L3,
Yeah.
are always given the option to match L1 in the reverse auctioning process. Even in reverse auctioning, the prices can go below the L1 quoted price, and finally there is a final negotiation which happens in which the orders are sometimes closed, or even the government have the option of completely scrapping the tender also.
Okay. Okay. And to manufacture all this, because from what I understand, your capacity, you are primarily into yarn. Let's say in FY24, when you clocked 400 odd crores in revenue, 400 to 450 crores in revenue, it 100% came from either yarn or fabric.
Yeah.
And now you got a small component of defense, couple of crores that you clocked in defense. So how did you execute that? I'm sure compared to doing yarn and fabric, you require much more sophisticated technology, a bigger factory
Yeah.
to execute the defense orders, because it's technical textiles. It is
Absolutely.
more complex than manufacturing this t-shirt too. So how did you do that?
Yeah. So we've been working on it for last 2 years, and we have created required infrastructure in our current business model. And like you rightly mentioned, this year we already have orders of 21 crores in hand, and there are many orders in pipeline also. But 21 crores which we have orders in hand, we are expected to minimum close between 15 odd crores or maybe even more
Okay.
for our from these orders.
Wow.
So in our current financial year, we will have the executed orders of minimum 15 crores. That is our expectation
Okay.
from the government supplies
In FY25.
FY25.
Wow. Great. And tell me one thing: is this space, is it big, or is it just one or two players competing against each other for maybe a 500 crore or a 400 crore market size?
No, so defense is the largest business in India. We can see from the big listed entities also, they are all fighting for orders for defense, the
Yes.
sub government orders, defense orders. So current budget, have 4,92,000 crores of allocation of funds for defense.
Yeah.
And also there is, I think, more than a lakh crore which is already lying idle from the last allocation.
Yeah.
So put together, they have almost of 6 lakh crore of allocation. But we are in the space where we are into technical textiles,
Yes.
like I have already mentioned, which is also very big.
Okay.
I'm not sure the exact number.
Okay.
But if I want to guess,
Yeah.
if I want to guess, maybe it is 20 to 25,000 crores of textile products which the ordnance factories and the MHA, they buy.
Okay.
Because there are so many forces in
Yeah.
India. We have uh, around, again, I'm not 100% sure on the number, but we have maybe around 25 lakh plus uh, in MOD and maybe 16 to 18 lakh force in MHA.
Okay.
And this is only the central. However, then there are police forces,
Yeah.
UP, Gujarat, and Maharashtra. That's completely separate from all these things. Uh, Next financial year, we also have our product, which is the licensed product, which we will be supplying to railways, government hospitals, uh, even the private hospitals. We will have the edge because our license product is approved from DRDO,
Right.
right? So we are expected to clock in very good sales from uh, that product also from next financial year.
Okay.
So we feel the market is much bigger than what we can even cater to.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and there are many players, of course, but it is not like everyone can uh, handle this kind of what do you call lag period, because
Right.
there are a lot of investment which is pre-required, and there are entry barriers, other challenges for this particular supplies.
Okay.
So definitely competition is not that severe as what private sector is, but definitely competition always exists.
Okay. So my apprehension when I asked you this question was that it's like, of course, uniform is needed for each MOD or the MHA or the other departments, police forces. But it can be, I thought it was sourced from layman's perspective. I thought it was sourced from Russia or the US, these uniforms. No, it's all sourced from India itself.
No, so it is definitely sourced from India itself,
Okay.
because textile India is far stronger than these countries. But having said that, with our honorable PM Made in India uh, drive, the all the defense products which can be produced in India have
Right.
to be supplied, have to be procured from India. I mean, I'm not talking about the high-end products of
Getting you. Yeah.
ammunitions and those things, but otherwise, Made in India drive have ensured that even other products which were getting imported, right,
Okay.
now will be supplied by the Indian MSMEs or Indian corporates.
Great. Great. So what can be produced should be procured by the
Absolutely.
government. Getting you. Nice. And so about this DRDO, so you're developing a suite of products in house for like your technology, your everything for this antimicrobial, anti-fire resistant, and the ECC. And the DRDO has given you a transfer of technology. I think for 10 years, like they developed the technology and they are giving you the technology to use it in your factory and manufacture products according to their specification. Can
Yes.
you explain a bit on
Yeah,
this?
sure. So see, DRDO is Defense Research Development Organization, is a India's largest research organization for defense. So their role is to do the research and make the products, uh, develop the products or make the products better for the defense forces,
Okay.
right? So antimicrobial or anti-bedbug is their requirement, because the kind of environment the forces stay in, it is must that these products should be developed in a manner where they can have the protection from the bedbug or the bacterial.
Okay.
Now, DRDO have a role to develop the technology, but they don't want to get into the commercialization.
Understood.
So once they develop the technology, they request for the industry to apply for the license,
Okay.
and with the precondition set preset conditions. And after you apply for the license, if you get the license from DRDO, you get that technology from them and the brand name of DRDO, with which you can give it to the forces or give it to the other government entities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And once you have the TOT, which they call it transfer of technology, you become a category A supplier in GEM
By default.
because you hold the TOT.
Right.
And category A is only reserved for TOT holders.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we have TOT, maybe for our product, I think 3 or 5 TOTs.
Okay.
So only those TOT holders can supply for that particular product.
Okay. So when this DRDO, despite it being a government organization, if it's developing, of course, it's incurring some cost
Yes.
to discover this technology. And when it gives to you, they don't give it to you for free, right? You must be paying them.
No, no, of course, there is a license fees.
Okay.
One is the fixed license fee, and then you also sometimes have royalty on certain uh, product for certain supplies.
Understood.
Yeah,
Understood.
that is all our agreement condition.
Okay. Understood, sir. Then let's say if this technology was developed by you as a company, then you would uh, approach the procurement team of the government with these products, and it would be much harder for you to get an order compared to going through the DRDO route. Is this correct? Because DRDO, you are class A supply by default.
So not necessary,
Okay.
but the technology, which is very important,
Yeah.
right? The technology comes from the uh, esteemed organization,
Absolutely.
right? So the product itself have that value,
Okay.
yes,
Understood.
and there are set parameters which needs to get approved for each and every supply from the approved laboratory.
Okay. Okay. Also, then let's slightly shift the pedal. Let's go more into the capex that you're doing. Somewhere in the presentation, it was mentioned you are planning to set up a factory in Amravati, I think, Maharashtra, and to take this defense unit completely in house, from yarn processing to technical textiles to actually manufacturing these defense products as an
Yes.
end product. So, can you talk more about it? Can you attach a number? How much capex are you doing? Where is this located? Is government giving you some incentives? And the PLI scheme, are you going to use that? I think PLI scheme was announced in 2020 around, like 10,600 crores would be allocated for technical textiles. Are you going to be using that?
Yeah, so there are a lot of schemes which are
Yeah.
available, as far as the subsidy is concerned.
Okay.
So we will definitely have, right now we are having, many options to choose from, but most probably we will not proceed with the PLI, but we will proceed with the mega project for in the Amravati Textile Park,
Okay.
where we are planning to have a capital investment, where we will put a unit which will support our conventional business as well as our technical textile forces business.
Understood.
Yeah, right now it's too premature for me to put a number on the capital investment, but since we are planning for a mega project, it will be over and above 100 crores only,
Okay.
because only then we will be eligible as a mega project.
Okay. Currently, you've got plants in which all areas right now?
So we are currently having in one in Damangao
Okay.
and Nagpur,
Okay.
and then we have one our final packing and stitching unit in Bhiwandi also.
Okay. So all are in Maharashtra?
Yes, all are in
All are in
Maharashtra.
Maharashtra. And this is doing a yarn manufacturing and fabric primarily. Now, the new factory that you're going to put up in this textile park, Amravati, that will include from A to Z.
Yes, so we plan to have spinning and doubling, processing and garmenting,
Okay.
with a small probably weaving also.
Okay.
Yeah, but for sure we will have a garmenting, as it will be useful for the supplies of the end product which we are doing it for the forces, defense forces.
Okay. Okay. And so, if I were to just explain this value chain, is it true that in this factory, like cotton will be procured, Then it will be spinning will be done to manufacture yarn, and from yarn through knitting and weaving it will be fabric, and from fabric you'll give like the chemical treatment. For example, if you want to make it antimicrobial, you put like silver nanoparticles. If you want to make it anti fire resistant, you put phosphorus compounds, etc., etc. And then that uh, technical fabric is made, and from that then the garmenting to really print to the cutting of defense garments. So this
Yeah.
entire process will take place in the new factory that you're planning.
Yes. So the fiber may be not necessary cotton,
Okay, right.
but we will start with the definitely with the spinning,
Yes.
and it will proceed to finally achieve the garmenting,
Okay.
and different kind of coated or treated fabrics will be used for the garmenting.
Understood. Understood. Great. So did we miss out on anything yet? Some margins. I want to come to margins, in fact.
Yeah.
I almost missed that. So margins are like 1%, 2%, which is extremely low for a textile company or company going into defense. So where do you see that moving? Do you plan to increase? Do you plan to stay the same?
Yeah, so our diversification primarily is for the objective that we are working in a very, uh, cutthroat competitive market. So, export of yarns or great fabric does not have that lucrative margin. So, we are working with EBITDA very close to the double digit number, 10, 11
Okay.
EBITDA,
Yeah.
But when we are supplying this technical textile end products to the government supplies, or even if we plan to export these products
Yeah.
in future, our EBITDA should go in somewhere above 50 to 60%.
50 to 60 or 15 to 16?
50 to 60%
Okay.
for the turnover of the defense, turnover
Understood.
of that product.
Understood. So for like the defense segment, you can get like a
Yes.
50 to 60% EBITDA margin.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Probably.
we have a planning of going in three digit for the top line of end products. So if that happens, our top line, our bottom line will have a very good impact.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I hear is that the traditional business, because it's very cutthroat, it's very traditional. In fact, the margins would be the same. But because now you're focusing on value addition products, the defense products, garmenting, the margins would like the revenue would increase. So will the margins, and
Yes.
the overall net margin of the company from 1 or 2% will increase.
Yes, absolutely. And also our manufacturing, which we plan to set up, will improve our EBITDA margins from the conventional business also.
Okay.
So we expect to have at least 500, 600 basis point of improvement in our uh, in EBITDA from
Okay.
our conventional business also.
Okay.
So in near future, maybe in 2 to 3 years down the line, we can have a very good improvement in our numbers, in our margins percentage.
Amazing. Amazing. And you're a company that recently IPO'd
Yeah.
in 2022.
Yes, we are
In
almost completing 3 years of listing.
Yeah. And so you raised what, 30 crores from the market, right? During those
So
days?
we have raised 48 crores.
40 crores.
Yeah.
And you use that for what? The setting up the plant.
So there is some capex which has happened, and also we have used the balance for the working capital.
Okay.
And some general purpose.
Okay. I didn't expect to walk into this office. What my expectation was, when we visit textile companies, it's directly they'll have a factory and there'll be just a office right next to it where we do the shoot. But it's great, and thank you very much for having us, sir.
Thank you
This
so
is
much for giving this chance opportunity to introduce my company to all of the investors and all of the interested people.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is just a public forum. People can come, watch, comment, say criticisms, say positives. So it's been a journey, and we're doing it for people's education. Now, I'm sure by the end of it, someone watched it. they would have gotten to know a lot about the defense textiles, which is not really available in the public domain, honestly.
Sure.
So, thank you very much, sir. Really
I'm glad
appreciate.
to share my knowledge.
Thank you for your time on this Saturday.
Thank you so much. Yeah.